Let's pick up where we left off on our financial plan for the project. We've got our numbers put in here. Hopefully you've extended this all the way out. You should see something that looks more like this as you go through. But we're going to live with whatever you've done up to now and keep going here. So you should have left off about here. We got all the way up to, I told you to go up to 95 here if you remember. And you should have had most of these numbers put in by now. So we have a couple of issues that we have to deal with. The first one is the take-home pay this year is $26,975, and our budgeted bills are $35,523. So we have to make some changes. The first thing we do to figure out if this is a problem or not is we calculate cash flow. I've added cash flow here into the equation, and of course this is equal to the amount of money coming in, 26,975, minus the amount of money going out, which is 35,523. It equals, whoops, I did that wrong. Let's do that again. This equals the amount of money coming in minus the amount of money going out equals. So we're $8,500 over budget, and we need to make some changes. So what changes are we going to make here? Well, I don't know if we can change rent, probably not easily. Rental insurance. Do we need renter's insurance? Well, we probably don't have a bunch of great stuff. So I'm going to say, well, I'm going to take the risk and self-insure and get rid of renter's insurance. That didn't save very much. Maybe I can save some on utilities, cut down on my electricity and so on. So I'm going to cut that down and say I'm going to leave the gas and electric off in the winter and wear a sweater. So I'm going to cut that down to $1,500. You hit enter, that should change. Cell phones, 90. I've got a really nice smartphone with a big plan. I could possibly cut that down to a little smaller plan. Maybe, maybe not. 50. Internet's 50. That's going to be hard to get rid of. Household maintenance and food and restaurants going out. Well, guess what I get to do is I get to not go out. So that's going to turn into 0. Household and maintenance and food, I'm still going to need food, so I'm going to leave that at 400 for now. Auto insurance, if we looked at the case study, it said we had collision in there, and the collision is costing us $500, and our car is almost beat up. So one of the things we can do is get rid of the collision coverage, not the liability coverage, but the collision coverage, and that'll save us $500 here. So 1140 minus $500 is basically $640. So I'm just going to guess at this being about $55. 660. Okay, so that's close enough. I'm going to leave it that. That gets rid of the collision part. Maintenance is always going to be something. Gas is always going to be something. $125 in clothes. Well, unless we absolutely need them for work, maybe not. Let's cut this down to say 60. Hair, we're going to have haircuts. Shoes, $42 a month in shoes is more than most people spend. So let's just say we cut down on a few pairs of shoes a year and cut that down to 20. Christmas, family, and gifts, they're going to have to live without. We're still $1,500 over. We've got our bills of our loans. We have no vacation. We have no fun at all. So what can we do here? Well, one of the things we can do is look up here and say, oh, I've got my 401k, and gosh, I really want to save that $2,500 because I know it's really important in my life. But on the other hand, I have to have food, and I have to have gas, and I'm probably not going to get rid of my cell phone. This pet costs us another $600, and that's without having any surprise expenses. And if you've ever had a dog, you know that there are surprise expenses. So that's one thing to worry about. So let's go back up here to the 2,500 we can save and say, instead of putting in $208 a month for our 401k, let's say we're saving a little bit from that and we're going to put in $100 a month for our 401k. And that should take this down to equals our monthly payment times 12, enter, is 1,200. 1,200 should hit our number here at 662. This increases the amount of take-home pay, and so on. We're still $662 short. That's not good. So let's go back up here and say, okay, household, food, and maintenance. We're going to have to live a little bit less here. Let's cut this down to 300. And now we're $538 positive. Okay, that is an ugly way to balance a budget, but it's the way you balance a budget because you have to have more money coming in than money going out, or you need to start cutting things. I know for a short period of time it's easy to run up these credit card bills, but it's not necessarily the wisest move. So if you can cut things back, that is one thing to do. So we've still got money going into our 401k, and this year and next year will be even better, right? So one of the things we can do here is we can grab this year as an example, and let me continue grabbing it all the way down, and just drag it over to next year and see if our formulas hold. Oh, you can see our formulas do not hold. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so all of these are wrong by so much margin. I'm going to just escape out of it and undo it. And then I'm going to go over here and look at the formulas. And these are all built off of these monthly totals. So we don't want that. What we want over here is this yearly total to move forward at the rate of inflation. So that wasn't built in. So let's build that in. So this cell would equal the total rent for the previous year. So for 2016's rent, and we want to up it by 3%. So we do that by multiplying it by parentheses 1 plus whatever inflation rate we have, in parentheses, enter. And so that raises this number to 98.88. And so the reason we put the parentheses and the 1 in there is so it would raise it, not give us a total of 3%, which would be the amount raised, but give us the total after it has been raised. So that's why it's 1, which is the original number, plus 3%. So that's 988. So that is going to be true for all of these numbers. So what we're going to do here is double click on it, and we're going to make the E15, E $sign, E $sign, or $sign E $sign 15, and we're going to do that so that'll hold as we drag. So now we're going to drag down and see if this holds. Does this work? This seems to work pretty well. We haven't made too many mistakes here, so that's good. We're going to take that all the way out to the end. We can see we're getting too many digits in here. So while I've got this, I'm going to go up here to the digits and get rid of some of them. And we want to have just no digits here in these numbers. So that's a good way to look at things. The other thing I want to do is, this is accounting in dollars, so I'd like to turn this into an accounting number. So this is accounting, and now we know that we don't want the change, so we get rid of the zeros, and we have good numbers here of the total expenses going up in value. So the expenses went up in 3%, and let's see what happened to our pay. Our pay went up at 4%, so we should have a little bit extra money left over. Our cash flow seems to be missing something here. C45 times 12. Well, that seems to have changed, so that's not right. Let's do this cash flow over again. This equals the money going in and the money coming out. So let's just clear this and say this equals the year of take-home pay minus the amount of total expenses, equals the $538 we had. Don't know how that changed. And drag that over, and we have 1,009. Oh, we have more money now. That's good. We like that. Okay, so now we've got an idea of what we do for the next column, the next year, and how to make changes in our budgets. The next step is we'll start to get into our assets. As you can see, I've copied them from the case study here, but I want to cut the videos here because this is a good stopping place. You can obviously take this now if you just highlight it all from the top to the bottom and go across, and you'll see that this is a consistent pattern. A consistent pattern over time, and you can take it all the way out to 95 years if you want. It seems like there's going to be some big changes in there before that, but you can easily drag now all of your expenses just like you were dragging your salary, and all of a sudden things get a little bit better. So as you look at the difference between the salary, oh, we've got a problem here, don't we? This isn't correct. This changed from here to here. That changed. So this was the distance from your amount earned to your amount that was spent. This was the same thing. This turned into this other formula. Well, we don't want that, so this is why we check. So what should this equal? This should, let's clear this out, equal your income minus your outgo. Enter. And that formula is what should carry across. So it's important to check the formulas to see if they're doing what you want them to do, especially if you're dragging, because dragging will copy things and then you're not sure if it's really right or not. So just because I'm trying to give you the quick ways to do things, do not assume that no matter what happens, you can just drag it across and it works. That is not what you need to do. You need to be thinking through, what is this formula supposed to be calculating? And you can just use your arrow keys and go across and see that it's consistent. Just like this formula is consistent. It's consistent right across, so that's probably right. The other trick you can do, which is really easy to do, is on your keypad, hit Control and asterisk. And the asterisk is the far left hand next to the 1. It's the tilde button, and it will show you all of the formulas and turn your whole spreadsheet into the formulas. And so you can see exactly what's formulas and what's not. And so this is how I check students' work, obviously, to see that they put formulas in and not numbers. And so you can check your own formulas to see if they all look right and they're all consistent, because I noticed that that formula wasn't consistent and that was a problem. So I'm going to turn it back to regular formulas, and we'll keep going here. So anyway, that's a beginning. I'll get into these assets that are down here in the next video. Thanks.